today we're going to talk about a lot of different things to include flight cancellations, where to visit Mexico if you only have 1 month, and a little bit about tortillas. So first, things in the news. Literally woke up this morning to news that every single flight in the U.S. was canceled.
We have breaking news this morning. The U.S. Federal Aviation Administration is reporting that all flights nationwide have been grounded indefinitely.
Because the FAA had some type of technical issues. I still don't know what those issues are.
I just spoke with Buttigieg. They don't know what the cause is.
I do know that by now the flights have all, resumed. I do not know, however, if everyone got where they wanted to go. The flights were canceled. I feel like at 5 or 6 in the morning is when the problem started, and it was at least 9 o'clock before I noticed that the flights were back up and going. So with the flight cancellations happening throughout the US, I'm pretty sure a lot of people didn't make their flights, especially if they had like connecting flights or how did that work? Anyway, huge debacle in the US, and I thought I would take this moment to say this is why I'm a huge advocate for flying with carry-on only. Now, most places will allow you essentially 2 bags, right? One actual carry-on and one, let's say, purse or personal item that you can also have. So basically you kind of have 2 bags each. And yeah, I think that's the way to go whenever possible. Obviously, exceptions exist. For example, if you're planning on moving to Mexico, you're probably bringing a lot more on that particular trip than normal. But when possible, travel as light as you can. For me, if I'm taking a 2 to 4 week trip, I'm still going carry-on only. I love to fly, I really do, but there's so much hassle when it comes to luggage that I just don't think it's worth it. And I'll be honest, I'm the type of person, while this has obviously never happened to me where literally all the flights are just canceled, to me, I would take that as a sign that it's not a good day to fly, and I would take my carry-ons and just leave the airport. Whether I go back home or find a hotel or whatever, find a friend to hang out with, my personality type is such that I would just leave. But it would be really difficult to do this if I had luggage that I already checked in. And based on the videos I've been watching this morning, a lot of people were not told that their flights had been delayed. They certainly weren't told that it was a nationwide, issue until they'd already checked in. So they already checked in their luggage and they already did the things. They were already behind security, and then they found out that their flight was delayed. At that point, if you have carry-on only, you can still leave, but if you've got checked luggage, it gets a lot more complicated. And the other thing that I think is horrible, I haven't heard any news on it yet, but logistically, with that many flights being affected, some of those flights had dogs or cats or pets on board, meaning that, especially if it was a larger dog that had to go into cargo, what were those animals doing and for how many hours? That probably would have been the most stressful, is if I was flying with pets, especially, again, pets that are in the cargo. My dog, Henry, of course, luckily he's small enough to where he usually flies in the cabin with me, so it would be less of a problem. But yeah, can you imagine? I will say also though, for Henry, he hates to fly. So he's really good at flying, meaning he just kind of huddles in his bag and, waits for the whole thing to be over. But I do know some people that wherever they go, they bring their pets and they travel a lot. I would like to recommend not traveling frequently with your pets. If you're moving to Mexico, bring your pets, do the things. But if you're just doing a 1 month visit here, 1 month visit there, I say find a pet sitter, find somebody that can watch your pet, because flying causes a lot of stress for everyone, but also our pets, and delayed flights and cargo issues. Unless you have to, again, so if you're literally moving to a new country, moving to a new location, I would not travel with pets. I can't even imagine. So that was the news I woke up to this morning. I'm really glad that all the flights have now been fixed. And as a technician, I am very curious as to why there wasn't a backup system in place, especially, again, if it's something that affects the entire nation's flights. Kind of a big deal. And pretty exciting. The Golden Globes was yesterday, and guess who won Best Animated Film for 2022? None other than Netflix's Pinocchio from Mexican filmmaker Guillermo del Toro.
A ver, Mark es él y yo soy Guillermo.
And if you haven't seen it yet, I highly, highly recommend it. This year it was kind of funny because it came out the same time frame as Disney's live action Pinocchio, and quite frankly, in my opinion, there's no contest. Netflix's Pinocchio for the win. All right, next we are going to turn to Facebook, and we're going to look at 2 questions. The first one is whether a person should get pesos in the US before going to Mexico or use their debit card at an ATM in Mexico, which one is better, where do you get the best rates. So when I moved to Mexico 3 years ago for the very first time, I did not get any pesos beforehand. I also never carried cash, so I had no US cash and I had no Mexican cash. I think it's not a bad idea to have some cash coming in to Mexico. You should get a really great deal from your bank. I would personally not bring that much, but it also depends on where you're going. I'm a fan of just using the ATM. I don't like to carry a lot of cash. Until you arrive to whatever city you arrive in, you don't realize how much they do or do not accept cash. So for example, where I live in the Chiapas, cash is king. There are a lot of places that accept card, which is nice, but at the end of the day, cash is the most reliable. However, I'm hearing places like Mexico City and perhaps other very high touristy places, they will take your card vice cash at most places. Mexico City apparently has street food that also accept your card. So I don't think you ever need to travel with a lot of cash coming into Mexico, but having some cash helps. Literally, I would say $100 US worth of pesos is probably more than enough just to get you to your hotel or your Airbnb, wherever you're staying, and then you can figure out where the nearest ATM is located. And most people probably already know this, but when you go to an ATM in Mexico, accept the ATM fee, but decline the USD to peso conversion rate. Your bank will do the conversion for you and you'll get a much better deal. And question number 2, totally overwhelmed with the decision and need some help. If you had to choose one of these places to stay for 1 month, which would you choose? Bonus if you can tell me why. They added some extra information, which, listen, if you ask me where the best place to visit in Mexico is or where would I recommend living, the answer is I have no idea because I need more information, right? I need something from you to get an idea of what might work best for you. So I love that this person added, it would be for the month of February. It would be this person plus the boyfriend and a dog traveling. They will not have access to a car, so someplace walkable is preferred. They need good Wi-Fi for work while they are there. They're looking for local culture and sunshine. So all the places they listed, right? It's Campeche, Merida, Valladolid, Holbox, Isla Mujeres, Puerto Morelos, Acumal, and Bacalar. These are all approximately in the same location. So weather-wise, they're all kind of similar. They're all hot. You're in a hot area. And so walking around does get difficult. Although if you're used to the heat, it will work out. I would say that of this list, Campeche, Merida, and Valladolid are the most family-friendly. Now, this person is not traveling with kids, so that might not be a huge difference, but that would be kind of the difference. Those are more family-friendly places, and the other places are more tourist attractions, so they're going to be a little bit busier, a little bit more crowded, and more of a party vibe. So if this person is looking for a party vibe, maybe some of those other locations would work. I think if you're looking for culture, if you're looking to get to know Mexico, then I would lean more towards the family-friendly places. And because they especially want good internet, I would highly recommend Merida. As you might know, my son and I and our dog lived in Merida for a little over a year and a half before coming here to San Cristobal. Merida really does have solid internet, and if you're looking for cultural activities, you've got lots of stuff happening in Centro. While I wouldn't call it a walkable city, I would say that Centro is definitely walkable. There's plenty of Ubers and taxis you can take to explore the rest of the city. The beauty, though, of all of these places that they listed is if they find that the first place they go to is just not to their liking, they could literally just city hop because all of these places are within a few hours drive from each other. They could take an ADO bus and go to all of these places. In theory, they could visit all of them, again, even within 1 month. Although I'm a slow traveler, so I wouldn't recommend doing all of that. But luckily, they've chosen places that are near enough to where I think they could visit all of those places if they wanted to. But definitely, if having strong Wi-Fi is important, I would recommend Merida. I think it's a great hub. It's also a great place to meet a variety of people. Merida for the win. And the last thing I want to talk about today is tortillas. So I keep seeing these videos. They're kind of funny. They're kind of like memes.
My mom does it like this. Look, she puts a tortilla like this and she just flips it over the fire.
And why can't I just grab a pan? It's the same.
No, because I like it how she does it because they stay nice and crunchy. So I'm sure she does it like that for a reason.
I've only seen people freshly make these tortillas and they warm it up on a comal, which is essentially a special pan that they might use. So I've never seen anyone flip a tortilla literally on the flames, and I don't think you would. They're just much smaller, and I think it would be much more practical to use a pan. However, yesterday, Alex and I did a challenge of could we in fact cook these over the fire? And the short answer is yes, we can. Flame hot. Well, that's fast. All right, do number 2. A few seconds.
No.
But even on my smallest grill, this tortilla got so soft that it just kind of started falling apart. So this one is going to be, but it's also much flimsier.
Might fall apart.
Oh, ha, ha. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so. Start it. There. Hot, hot, hot. We're getting some edges.
That's good, I guess.
However, for the flour tortilla that's slightly larger, I can definitely see cooking this over a fire. It was much easier. Of course, it's packaged. It's much more firm than the corn. In my life, I've always only warmed up tortillas on a pan, and the flavor difference between warming this baby up on a pan versus warming it directly on the fire is kind of ridiculous. I think we're fire fans now. Yeah. Whenever you want to. Okay, straighten it though. So obviously, this part is furthest away from the fire, right? So that's what you would touch.
Let's just spray
Good job. Yay! And there we have it.
various tortillas.
Various tortillas. And of course, warmed tortillas are the best way to go. So always warm your tortillas.
Yay.
Don't eat it fresh out of the package.
I do that.
That wraps up today's thoughts. Let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know if there's anything else I should be talking about when it comes to Mexico or travel, etc. I would love to know. And then we can discuss it in the comments or talk about it on the next video. Until then, today Alex and I are having a play date. We're gonna be meeting up with a friend of his so that they can do all the things, probably gaming related, while I edit this video and get it out to you. So I hope you have a lovely day, and I hope you were not stuck at an airport for hours and hours and hours.